All right, my guided project people. Here's the session that you will get on Google Classroom. I have given you 5 chord progressions to choose from. You can obviously mix and match or make your own if you'd like, but if you're not sure where to start, let's just dive in, pick one of these. We have a darker emotional one. Happy one, a Spanish kind of ethnic one. The chords from Star Trek and Teen Angst, just a bunch of minor chords. Oh man. All right, so let's just say I want to choose one of these. Let's do happy or optimistic. So I'm going to delete everything that I don't want. So I just am going to select these chords. Then I'm going to move them back to measure 2. You don't want to start the song on measure 1 because you need a measure of just break. Okay, now we're going to start to build our song. So let's add drums and a piano sound. Looks like we already have piano here, so let's do that. Remember to mute the chord track. I'm on bars and beats. My grid is on, so I'm going to select these chords, just drag them down. Okay, that could even possibly be the start of a song. Let's add some drums. Groove agent. And we can get a sense for what we want with using loops as opposed to recording our own beat for right now. Not sure. Let's try hip hop. So at the bottom of the keyboard, if you use your octave button, there's often loops. Not for each one, but some of these. I have to hit the back button. Okay, electro. Okay, let's just choose a rock one, pop rock. Okay. Basically remaking The Office here. Okay, so this is a chance for us to find what we're doing, kind of find our feet, experiment, do a draft, sort of a sketch. So we're just going to throw things in and then go from there. So I'm just going to record one of these simple ones. Here we go. And record another one. Okay, so I'm going to quantize those, make sure I'm on at least an 1/8 note before I hit Q. Over here, my grid resolution. Hit Q. I want to extend this one quite a while, so I need to just extend it like this, double click, and drag the note as well. Okay, that's lined up. Let's repeat it. Okay, so I think the drums might be a little too busy this early in the song because we need, around 2 minutes. But let's add another instrument. Let's add a string sound. A lot of songs have strings, so we'll do there. Okay, so I need to click on strings. Oh, let's find like string quartet. That could be nice. I can also layer sounds, so I'm going to go over and on this next slot, I'm going to also search for strings and cello duo. So in order to make these play at once, I need to go over to my MIDI window and make sure they both say channel 1. And then under mix, I can change the volume of each. Like that. Okay. Now let's drag this data down to this track. Oh, copy it. So if I want to copy, I hold Alt and then drag. Okay, let's try recording our own groove here. If you're not comfortable recording at this tempo, let's slow it down and record it slower like this. Let's just do a kick snare. That wasn't super great, but that's fine. I'm on an 8th note, and so I'm going to hit quantize. Get rid of that bad note here. Make sure to quantize before you do any editing like this. It'll make things easier. Okay, that note didn't make it in, so I'm going to hold Alt and then copy that note. Okay. Okay, let's add a reverse cymbal and then some sidechain compression on some new tracks real quick. So I'm going to go to Loops and Samples, search for cymbal, and then cymbal, let's see. That one's good. Drag it into my session. With it selected, go up to Audio, Processes, and then Reverse. Okay. So I want you to practice sidechain compression on this song. So in order to do that, we need to add some new tracks. We also need to add some blue arpeggiators as well, because you need to incorporate those at some point. So what's first? Oh yeah, sidechain compression. So let's go to synth pad and find something. Okay, and we can always change the sound later. Now we're going to name it synth pad. Our tracks need to be named. This one's piano. Whoops. This one's piano. Okay. So I'm holding down a note so I can hear what I'm doing. I'm going to add that effect. So we're going modulation, auto pan. I'm selecting this pulse button, sync, and link. So pulse, sync, and link, and I have to change this to a quarter note, 1/4. Okay, remember, I slowed down the tempo to record that drum, so let's pump it back up to 120. Okay, this is where the drums need to come in. Okay, I'm just going to record one of these loops. Okay, and then I'm just going to drag out the region, double click, and drag the note out. I'm going to quantize that, make sure I drag it over so that I see it. Okay. So this is where I take the chord data. It's 4 chords, and I hold Alt, and I'm going to drag it to the synth pad with the sidechain compression effect. Pretty cool. Okay. Now we need to add a bass sound. Bass is at the top. Okay, I'm looking for kind of an electric bass. Okay, so I could pulse it. Let me show you an easy ways to do this. I'm going to drag this down to my bass track. Just name it real quick. Copy it down, right? Hold Alt. All right, let's solo it. Use the glue tool, double click, delete everything except the bass notes. Okay, now select them, drag all of them down to, I want to pulse on an 8th note, then I'm going to hit, oh, what'd I do? There. I'm trying to get this pulse thing, so I'm going to select all of these notes again, and then I think if I hold Alt, I think I just have to do this a few times. Holding Alt and dragging on the same note to get this pulse. Yeah, right. So far. Okay, don't forget to save. So I could duplicate the piano and have it going on during this time as well. Let's get an arpeggiator. Then I could do the same thing with the piano before we get to the arpeggiator where I create that pulse. Okay. So instead of it just going na na na, it's going na 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 na. All right, let's add a blue arpeggiator real quick. This was fun. Add instrument track. We're going to add a blue arp track. Blue arp is a little confusing, so be patient with it. Let's drag it down, right click. Let's add an instrument track. Another Halion Sonic's fine. We could do Prologue, but Halion's fine. Okay, I'm going to name this arp or lead, synth lead, arp, and synth lead. I'm also going to color them by clicking on the track, holding Control, and moving my mouse wheel over here on the left. Okay. And if you don't see this panel, it's Control-Alt-R and Control-Alt-L to get those up. Okay. All right. Now what I need to do, pay attention. On the synth lead, I need to select all MIDI inputs, and I need to make it say synth lead arp. And then I need to hit the monitor button. Okay, and then I need to go search for a sound. So let's search for a synth lead sound. That's kind of cool. All right, now in my blue arp, I need to go to where it the 4th program for starters and click on key select. And if I hold down like 3 notes at a time, or 4 notes, which the chord track gives us a 4-note voicing, so I'm going to copy this down. I could copy it from here, but I'm just going to copy it here. Down to this track. The data has to live on the ARP track, not the instrument track itself. That's what's a little confusing about it. We see signal coming out of here, but we actually have to be recording on this track up here. Okay, let's see what this sounds like. Oh, I got to solo both. Pretty cool. Don't forget to turn off the metronome so you remember it's not actually part of the song. Okay, I would save there. So this is the journey. So I have a chord progression, and I want to arrange things so I can just change the instruments up every 4 or 8 measures, and change the drums, change the instrument, add an arpeggiator. Okay, the last thing we're going to do, actually, I'm going to call this, I have a session with a different chord progression that's mostly completed, so we're going to go to that one. Okay, so I'm going to save this as something real quick. Okay. All right, so I made about a 2-minute track with these same techniques. Let's listen to it real quick. I chose the darker one. arpeggiator in here. So I automated the EQ. Check it out. Get a bit of a sweeping effect. Okay, so I'm changing it up, some chord progression. What I just did, I thought this area was a little empty. It needed a bit more texture, a little bit more going on. So I copied this chord progression to this synth pad sound, and I transposed it up an octave to make it not in the same range, but be the same notes, just higher up on the keyboard. So that's transpose, and 12 is your magic number there. And then I kind of layer things over here. I'm just using a loop for the drums, mostly for the song. I'm just building on this D chord, just building up. Okay, what am I doing here? So I actually I don't know what notes I'm playing for this melody. Here's what I did. So I selected an instrument for this lead thing for the end. And what I did was, over here on my inspector, I clicked on chords, and then I clicked on live transform and scales. So here's what this does. As long as there's a chord progression above it on the chord track, basically you can't hit a wrong note, so it makes you an invincible piano player. You can literally hit any note and it's going to sound good. It's just a matter of getting the rhythm locked in and quantizing it. So let me do another one here real quick for you. I'm just going to play in real time. Let me just solo one of these instruments with the bass. Okay, I'm going to record something, and I'm just going to play any white note. Okay, here we go. So pretty cool. So I can actually make little melodies. So I'm going to quantize that in the 8th note. Okay. So I have two blue arps going on for different things. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so you see the techniques of, you can take a simple four chord progression and turn it into an entire song. Look, we're at about over 2 minutes. This isn't absolutely great. I would still want to spend more time with it, but this, if you guys did something like this, I would be very proud, where you are demonstrating layering of different instruments at different times to make it interesting. You're demonstrating the blue arpeggiator. You're demonstrating the chord track, recording a lead line or a melody with this live transform function on chords. Okay, and then also we can go through and we can add reverbs to things. F3 gets my mix window. Get that sidechain compression sound going with this pulse. Really powerful and easy to do. I will attach this session to Google Classroom so you guys can play with it. All right, have fun, guys.